Hello everybody, my name is Michael, and in today's video what we're going to be doing is this right here. So if that looks exciting to you guys, please carry on and watch the video. Oh, and just one more thing before we go. Please consider like, commenting, and subscribing if you enjoyed the video. But now with all that out of the way, let's carry on with the video. Okay, so starting off here with our Dragonborn Paladin, all I've done is I've added a bit of sand and gravel from my driveway here. Then once we've done that, I've just given that a bit of a prime over, and then we can start our painting. So starting off here with dark green by Vallejo, and this is going to be a nice base tone for our Dragonborn. So as you can clearly see, I'm doing a green Dragonborn here, so I want that nice dark tone to start off with the base of all of his skin slash scales that we want here. But remember, Dragonborn come in many different colors and varieties, so don't be afraid if you want to switch it up to a different color dragon than me. But for me, I'm going to be painting up sort of a naturalistic Dragonborn, probably a Dragonborn of Oath of the Ancient, something like that. Then once we have that base skin complete, we're going to come in now with greenskin, which is a nice lighter color, and we're just going to be hitting those high points on our Dragonborn here. As you can see, he's got those nice little frills on the side of his face, so we want to be just picking out the spines on there, hitting things like the eyebrows and any prominent scales that are picking out. And it's just a matter of going around the miniature and finding out these prominent bits. Now remember, I'm just doing it in green. You can do it in whatever color you want based on the Dragonborn you're painting up. Then once we've done that, we're going to come in with our final highlight, and this is going to be bright green. And of course, this is for our highest points and the bits that are naturally going to be hitting the sun. So that is definitely the parts like the eyebrows and the very tops of the raised ridges. And as you can see, I've switched to a finer tip brush, and I'm being a little bit more controlled where I'm placing these parts. It's be a little bit tedious, especially with Dragonborn, and it's got a lot of scales all over the place, but trust me, it'll be worth it in the end. Then once we've completed that, we're going to come in now with some basalt grey. And this is going to be the colour for basically his pants that he's wearing here. They're just showing through underneath his armour. Now you can choose any sort of light dark colour you want here. I want to be, since I'm keeping this as more naturalistic sort of Dragonborn, I don't want to go too crazy with the colours. So basalt grey is going to be a nice mixture without having to go too dark into like black or something. Similar to that, so nice neutral grey is going to help out here. And then once we have those pants painted up, I'm going to come in now with some burnt umber, and this is just for one small place on the miniature, and that's going to be doing it for the handle of the weapon that our paladin is using. So as you can see here, he's got this nice big maul in his hand, and we'll be using our burnt umber to just be painting that brown handle. Then once we've gotten that handle painted up, I'm going to come in now with some Averland Sunset. And what I'm going to be doing for this is I'm going to be painting his undershirt that he's wearing for underneath all his armor. Now this is totally up to you what color you want to paint this here. I feel like the yellow is going to naturally contrast with the green on here, and it's going to give us a nice visual interest to the piece, giving some bright colors all over this model. So totally up to you what you want to do here, but I'm going to go with something nice and bright and eye-catching. Then once we have that painted up, we're going to come in now with some rough iron, and this is a nice, really dark, nearly almost black metallic color, and I'm going to be using this just to be painting up the maul itself. So I'm using the little spike on the end, I'm giving that a quick paint, as well as the actual end with the nice ball and spike, so giving that a nice good overall coat on the miniature. Then once we have that painted up, we're going to come in now with some gunmetal. And what we're going to be doing is applying this to all of the rest of the metal area. So he's wearing a lot of heavy metal armor, so we want to be making sure we get that as well. And while we're painting this up, there's actually one thing I want to ask you guys out there if you know. We're painting up these pre-painted Wizkids models. I've noticed that lately when I'm painting them up, my paint seems to be sliding off them, even though it says they're ready and to paint on straight away. So I don't know if that's just, maybe I need to give them a quick little wash first to get off any release, but it's already pre-primed, so I'm not quite sure what's happening here, but they just seem to be getting slipperier and slipperier, and you'll see with this model it's really quite hard to get on those base coats, especially in other parts of the video. But once we've got that all painted up, I'm going to come in now with some khaki, and we're going to be using khaki to be painting up the cloak that our Paladin is wearing here, which is going to be just a nice neutral color, because like I said, I want to make him sort of like a Oath of the Ancient Paladin. He's sort of a naturalistic guy, so I'm not going to go too crazy with the bright colors, but he also needs to sort of blend in with an environment. And like I said just before, you can see that the paint is just slipping off these miniatures that I'm painting here. So if you have any tips for that and how to make it so the paint doesn't slide off so easy or spend so long base coating, that'd be much appreciated if you could tell me, because I'm having a bit of problem with it with the Wizkids models lately. So if you let me know, that'd be awesome. But once we've got that all done, we're going to come in now with cavalry brown. I'm going to be using cavalry brown from the shield. This is a lot of a nice natural, like maybe like turtle shell or just some really interesting sort of like plating on here. So I'm going to go with the cavalry brown, which is going to be a nice reddish brown color here. It's going to really help bounce off all the other colors we've got on the miniature here as well, make another eye-catching piece to the model without it being too overbearing. So one other thing to remember when you're painting the shield up, there's lots of little nooks and crannies in this area, so you're going to have to spend a little bit of time painting the face of that shield. But once you have that shield all painted up, we're going to come in now with some ancient mummy. And this is sort of like a light yellowish color here. You could go with a pure yellow if you wanted to, but we've already got the yellow for our undershirt, so I wanted to go with a sort of basically an off yellow for the eyes that I'm going to be painting up here. Now, eyes are always notoriously difficult and tricky to do, and trust me, I still have plenty of problems with eyes, but just a matter of getting that base part of the eye down and then coming in when we got to do the pupil of the eyes, which is always nice and tricky, but you just got to get a sharp brush and just carefully place it on there. Now this did take me a couple of tries to get right, and I still think it's a little bit iffy, but I need to get the practice in for the eyes, so it's just all a matter of practicing and keep trying. Then once we have those eyes painted up, we're going to come in now with some ivory, and what we're going to be doing with the ivory is we're going to be painting up the little spikes slash teeth that are on the end of this shield, or the face of the shield I should say, not really the end of the shield, but it's totally up to you whether you want to make these sort of horns or teeth that he's done on here, but ivory is going to be a nice base color for this anyway, and just a matter of being careful not to accidentally get anything on the shield. Then once we have that all painted up, we're going to come in now with some carroburg crimson, which is a red wash, and we're going to be applying that to the shield itself to enrich the red colors in that cavalry brown we've got there and turn it more reddish than brown. It's the effect I'm trying to go off for anyway, but you could also want to go more brown than red, so you might want to switch out for an agrax earthshade, depending on what sort of if you want to make it go red or brown in this step. So it's totally up to you here, but I want to make it a bit more red, so carroburg crimson is going to be a good color for that. Then once all that's dry, we're going to come in now with some casandora yellow, and this here is going to be an interesting choice for me. I'm trying something sort of bold and different here. I'm going to be applying this to the green on the miniature to really give in some real punch of color into our green Dragonborn here. And as you can see, it's really changed up all the color we've done here, and it's going to make all the greens that we've applied blend in together as well, and especially applying that yellow wash over top, it's really sort of punching them up in color and giving a nice different sort of effect. So I thought I'd just try out something different here. And then once that's completely dry, we're going to come in now with some agrax earthshade. And agrax earthshade we're going to be applying over a lot of the miniature here. We want to be going over the cloak, the undershirt and that. As well as that, I'm also going to be going over the armor with our agrax earthshade. I want to give it that sort of worn in, really sort of starting to turn a little bit old and grungy metal, with hopefully the agrax earthshade will try and help give that effect that I'm trying to go for, since this paladin is sort of like a paladin of the woods and he's an oath of the ancients. He's out in the wilderness all the time, so hopefully the agrax earthshade is going to help emphasize that rather than going with a known oil which just simply darkens it down. I'm going to try and go more grime it up. And then once we've done that, we're going to come in now with some seraphim sepia, and this is only going to be used for a very small part of the miniature, and we're just going to be applying it to all the little teeth or horns that we have here on the edge of our shield. Just being careful that we don't get too much of that flow down effect from our wash, so just make sure you're keeping an eye on that when it's drying. And then with those washes done, we're going to come back in with some highlights now. So we're going to come in with khaki, and what we're going to be doing here is of course hitting those nice high points on our model, and this Dragonborn Paladin with its cloak here has some really nice sculpted in detailed raised edges. So it's going to be nice and easy to pick out those areas that you're going to be able to clearly see that are naturally going to be hitting the sunlight. So it's a good thing to spend a little bit of time here and really get those with a nice punch of that khaki that we've got in here to really help show that we've got the sun beaming down in the places we want it to. And then once we've done that, what we're going to be doing is coming back in with our cavalry brown now, and we're going to be applying that to certain bits of each of these little plates here. Now I know this is going to be a little tedious and time consuming, but it's going to hopefully give off a nice awesome effect in the end. And as you can see here, I'm applying it mostly to the top parts, as well as that on the face of the shield itself as well. I'm just going to be applying a little sort of dot in each one of those little segments as well to help show off that we've got some nice reflective parts in the areas and make it more interesting from afar. And then once we've done that, we're going to come in now with some shining silver, which is a nice bright silver. And we're going to be using this, of course, to do those highlight areas. So we're going to be getting those naturally raised areas and catching places like the edge of the armor and raised bits like we have here just on the little symbol he has on the side of his cloak. Really making it so we can punch those areas up and see that the sun is really bouncing off and giving off this shining, gleaming effect. He is a paladin after all, so he is that sort of knight in shining armor sort of archetype, and this is going to help emphasize those areas. Then once you've done that, it's just a matter of basing the miniature up how you want. And with all that complete, we have finally finished painting up our Dragonborn Paladin from the Dungeons & Dragons Wizkids range. So I hope this video has been helpful for you guys. If you want to follow along, or I've just given you some inspiration for painting up your own Dragonborn miniature. But either way guys, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I can't wait to see you all in the next video.